Hello everyone! So this is another collab with Cypress. Now this is going to be our last video talking about Hasbro's Dynamite Battle, whatever it's going to be called, with the QuadDrive system. So I want to give any updates or follow-ups in this video, and if there's more information, we'll do more follow-ups after, only because I feel like I don't want to just make it unnecessary. And we're going to get started. So the first thing I want to talk about, because I'm going to play this as I talk, which is no. So a commenter pointed out, Bakucraft I believe was the name, that I forgot to delete the shell part that was around it. So yeah, that is what Extend Plus kind of looks like with the outer part gone of it. So that is what the tip looks like, though the only difference is just the little part that was round around it. So it does look pretty thin though, I'm not gonna lie. And keep in mind too, as a disclaimer with this 3D model stuff, that it's not precise. It's very hard to get those specific sections out. So yeah, but the Extend Plus doesn't really look like it's an Extend Plus though. Time will tell, just to be sure. Though if this is the actual shape without the shell and everything, the attachments, then it looks very bad. It looks like Survive, but not Survive. I don't know if that makes any sense. I know we wanted Extend Plus, but we wanted Extend Plus Normal, which it kind of sucks, because we got the Pro Extend Plus, which is not as good as TT's. Then we got Extend Plus 2, Extend Plus Q, and seemingly does not seem to be a desirable shape that it should be. But other than that, we're going to just speed up the process, because we're going to go over the actual system itself. So, oh, I already did it. Alright, so this is what the core looks like for the base, whatever it's going to be called. So it does look very thin to TT. Now it's a little bit hard to isolate this just because of how it is, but it does seem to have similar prongs to how for TT, how they had it for the DB core for spin direction. And I know comments have pointed this out, and I am aware, but yes, it does look like you can probably slide and lock it in, so it'll be a different system than TT for how you would lock it in. Which would make sense, obviously, because that complicated system of the thing does not seem like something Hasbro would do for these types of products. But other than that, we're going to speed it up. Okay, yeah, so this is when I show around it. So you're gonna notice there's still a little bit of debris around it, so that is unfortunately the best that I can do. You know, hopefully, these ones are gonna have good slopes, because a big issue with Surge 2 was, let's ignore the fact, lack of gimmicks, lack of weight, hollow. Slopes sucked on a lot of releases. Like, the Dragon D6 chip was like a solid one, and for lefts, debate between Lunar or left Devilos, you know, I'm not gonna bother, but yeah. It was really hard too, because to find the specific area where the chip connects, so again, keep in mind, not 100%, but it's just to get a good idea of it, though it does seem to have a similar sort of shape to what TT has. And we're going to go over to our next part in a moment, as it is clearing through, but yeah, here's hoping it has good slopes and not just a performance tip that's really tight. Because that was another thing too, there are some tight springs on performance tips, but that doesn't mean the slopes are good, it just means the spring on the driver is good. So, I'm going to speed it up, just to be sure. Oh, okay, I go back up, so there you go. So this is what the blade looks like for Hasbro. As you can notice, it does seem like, oh, I left the armor there, by the way, because I don't want to have to go through the trouble of trying to remove it. But that is what the blade looks like. Now, the Cyclone blade, unless it's just an error in the model, it does look like it's perma-fused with the wings. Now, this is why I say we gotta wait and see, because sometimes when they model it with the app, you know, might not be precise, though I'm very confident with saying that it seems extremely likely that you will not get the actual gimmick on Cyclone. And the rings, or sorry, the blades seem to have a very different shape than what TT has, so it is very much modified. I do hope that it does retain the wing gimmick. I do not want a repeat of Crash Rock of War, where they fused plastic. Didn't even have the thing. It's going to be so lame if it doesn't have the gimmick. Here's to hoping that they actually do it. Yeah, it's not looking too hot. So the other thing too is that it does seem like there is a slot for the armor, and I do think we're gonna have armors there, because if you look at it in the app and everything that people have mentioned, and we're looking at the model, it seems very strange that if it was fused, it would be like that. So I'm gonna make the bold claim that we will have low and high mode. However, I do think the armors will not factor in too much, considering the fact that I'm very sure that even if they do the armors, it would be plastic. So I guess it would be purely cosmetic in that sense. Which I think is fair enough to say, just assuming. You can also, yeah, dude, you can tell, dude, it looks hollow and everything. I do hope they retain the gimmicks. Please. I don't want it to be that, like, Surge, like, after Rise had, like, not counting the swords or the dual spin on Union and Lord, it had, like, no layer with the gimmick. I don't want that repeated again. I'm gonna be so sad if that happens. But it's just to show an idea of the system. This is also why I say, because if I look at the armor and everything, it doesn't seem to... I just want to know how they're gonna do it, man. I just hope they do it good. I hope they do it good. And I do think it's fair to say they would have low and high mode. I don't think that all of them would just have a low mode, because that wouldn't make any sense. Oh, if they did, then Hasbro be Hasbro. Alright, so let's go to the isolated armor. So this is supposed to be 6. And before you ask in the comments, why didn't you try to get Baldurov or Nemesis? The process to go through this is very complicated, because there's a lot of shapes that I have to basically go and delete to get the specific thing. So it's not that simple, unfortunately. Realistically, I would have liked to have all 3 so we could take a look at it, but I think just having Cyclone for the example is good enough. And let me just speed it up, just because I do have this slowed down. Yeah, so ignore the debris around you. You're going to notice there's a little bit of stuff around it. That's just how it is. It's not actually going to be there in the thing. But the general shape and whatnot is what we're going to focus on. Oh. Well, that's going to be funny. I left the end screens there by accident. Alright, where do I slow this down? There. So, this is basically what the system seems to be like. What I'm going with is I do feel there's probably going to be a low and high mode for the layers. And technically a low and a high mode for the drivers. The only thing I'm really worrying about is if these layers are going to have the gimmicks. Because again, I don't want it to be, again, like HS, where even if the battles are fun and whatnot, that, oh my god, all the layers get, like, mega nerfed. It's gonna really, really suck. And I think I speak for most people that are fans of Hasbro saying that, yeah, you know, while Hasbro can be fun, having it how it should be is what we want. Or the closest possible that they can do for these products. But with that being said, that is where I'm going to end it off. I hope these videos are able to give some good context for the future. And the positive actually is going to be that for future updates, if there is a specific release where we need to find out what the tip actually looks like inside when an update happens, we can go through this process and we'll be able to discover stuff or see if there's anything in specific. So yeah, here's to hoping that Hasbro's DB, whatever they're going to call it, is going to be good. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you all for watching. If I did do any mistakes or I accidentally left a little piece in there and I forgot to delete it, it is what it is until then. But yeah, bye.